Developing news out of Wilbraham. Police have identified the suspect in Saturday night's officer-involved shooting on Old Carriage Drive. We just learned from Wilbraham Police that the officer is a 29-year-old man. The suspect in question is Michael Ortega. The 53-year-old exchanged gunfire with Wilbraham Police last night, leading to an hours-long standoff after the shooter barricaded himself inside the home. Western Mass News reporter Olivia Hickey joins us live in Wilbraham with the latest information from police. Olivia?
Glenn, according to Wilbraham Police, the officer was taken to a local hospital and is in stable condition. State police report Ortega is in custody and was taken to an area hospital under police guard. We just learned from Wilbraham Police Ortega's booking charges are assault with intent to murder and assault with a dangerous weapon. Here's what the scene looked like when our Western Mass News crews first arrived just before 10 p.m. Saturday. According to Wilbraham Police, it started before 8:30 when Wilbraham police officers responded to a residence on Old Carriage Road regarding a male threatening others in the home. Multiple local police departments, state police, K-9 units, and medics were on scene for several hours. After midnight, the state police special tactical operations team entered the residence and took the barricaded suspect into custody. Members of the stop team used an armored vehicle fitted with a battering ram to break in a first-floor window. Police then flew a drone into the house where they saw the suspect near the front of the house with gunshot wounds. A handgun and ammunition were reportedly found next to the suspect. State police also rescued two other people who escaped onto the roof of the garage next to the house. Now, we are currently in the area of last night's incident, and the neighborhood seems to be quiet. The incident remains under investigation by the Wilbraham Police Department, State Police, and the Hampden District Attorney's Office. Western Mass News will continue to follow this story closely and bring you any updates we receive on all our platforms. Reporting live in Wilbraham, Olivia Hickey for Western Mass News.